With that, we'll get to our final presenter today. And he brings vast experience, both as an Army veteran and with a very long 20-plus year career with the FBI, to his current work in the credit union space, where he's trying to help members prevent fraud. So without further ado, here's Brad Lynch from Wings Financial.
Okay, so you're right in my center spot here, and I've been watching you. You're married, right? Are you guys married? Okay, how long? $36. Okay. All right. And your first name, just your first name? Okay. And? Robbie and Jerry. Okay. So once upon a time, Jerry laid eyes on Robbie, fell in love. And at one point, he went for her hand. He held her hand, right? Kind of felt good. He's going down. Time goes by, decides to sneak a kiss. They develop a relationship. They get married. They put a life together. Jen put it perfectly. We're made for relationships. We're made for connection. And that is kind of the cornerstone of where we're at. Okay, so what they decided to do was put a life together. They share their money together. They do those things together. So, going back, going too fast. Here we go. We're going to keep that as our cornerstone here, all right? There is a threat landscape here coming up. Basically means stuff's coming up, and the other speakers before me went over sort of all the scams. I'm gonna give you some real life examples. So I said once upon a time. Most of the time fairy tales start with once upon a time. Army stories start with, man, this ain't no BS. Well, man, this ain't no BS. I've got a neighbor who got a call. She actually called me over one day and said, hey, I think somebody took over my computer. Can you help me? So I said, sure. So I went over there and we sat down. She told me the story. She had gotten a call the day before from her bank. I'm not going to tell you which bank. But the bank that she banked at, this guy had spoofed the number. And in simple terms, that means he made it look like her bank was calling. Okay? So when you pull out your phone, and this is part of the problem, right? This is where some of this starts, and we'll get into that in a second. But when they call your phone, they can make it look like your bank, your credit union, or whoever it is calling. So he tells her, were you on the phone this morning at 4:30 trying to wire $72,000 to Hong Kong? She says, no, I was not up at 4:30 this morning, and I did not try and wire $72,000 to Hong Kong. So he tells her, there's been a breach. Everybody in the bank is under investigation, so don't talk to anybody. So that's called gaslighting. Gaslighting in simple terms means they're trying to isolate you and keep you from the truth, because the scammer knows that if you go and talk and actually have a real conversation with a person at the bank or credit union, then they're going to find out what's going on. So, long story short, he says, hey, we'd really like to catch this person because it's a problem for us. Could you wire the $72,000 to Hong Kong? Because then we'll be able to catch that person. But I don't want to wire $72,000 to Hong Kong. All right? But he says, no, listen, it's not going to go. We're going to prevent it from going, but you'll help us catch this person. You see where this is going? Okay? The $72,000 really is going to go. And so what she does, she goes to the bank, and she has her phone with her, and she has the phone in the purse on live so that the fraudster can hear what's going on. Long story short, she wires the $72,000, and I'll tell you that I instruct our folks at the in the front line to ask questions. I'll tell you up front, it's embarrassing for this bank, so I'm not going to tell you who it is. But this bank had no questions. This bank didn't say, do you know anybody in Hong Kong? Are you buying something in Hong Kong? $72,000 is an awful lot of money. Questions like that. So they didn't ask that. So off and away, $72,000. She comes to me, and the next thing you know, we're sitting down at a computer. Now, I have it in here somewhere, but I'm just going to tell you up front. There's a website called IC3, the number 3, .gov, G-O-V. Okay, when I was in the FBI, I would hand that website out. Here, you can put this in if you ever have a problem with a report. And there's this thing called a financial fraud kill chain. Okay? So if you go to IC3.gov and you've lost this money, you've wired this money, and you've realized this within 48 hours, and you do the report, which is I sat down with her, I helped her put in the report, and then I said, here's what you're going to do next. You're going to call the police. Local police need to know about this. Put in a report. Step number 2, you're going to call the FBI, the local FBI office, and you're going to marry them up with that report, because when you put a report into IC3.gov, I wired $72,000 to Hong Kong, to this routing number, to this account number, here was the point of contact, you put in all the information you can, then they're going to spit out a report number to you. You tell the FBI what that report number is. I'm sure you're all familiar with the phrase, squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? That's what you're doing, okay? You're making some friction here. So then she did that, and I said, third thing, you're going to be at your bank Monday morning with bells on, and you're going to talk to the people in the bank. So she did. And they told her, well, we're sorry, that money's gone. There's nothing we can do for you. Sorry we didn't ask the questions we should have. Now, thank God. Thursday, she called me, that money was back in the account. So it can be a fail-safe. I hope you never have to count on that, but that is a certain thing you can do. IC3.gov. That's a real-life deal. So here's what I want you to do. We talked a little bit about this before. Okay, if you get a call like this, because nobody wakes up and says, you know, I'd really like to feed $10,000 cash into the Bitcoin machine. Or I'd really like to wire $72,000 to Hong Kong. Nobody wants to do that. But the reason that happens is because some fraudster called you and targeted you and talked you into a lie. Okay? That's what's going on. So I want you to stop and think. I want you to verify independently. That means you go to a trusted friend. Okay? If Jerry gets his call, he'd say, Bobby, come here. And they'd talk about this. But maybe you have somebody else in your life, whether it's your spouse, a friend, a trusted relative, a trusted neighbor. Okay? That's verifying independently. Does this sound right to you? That's what you want to do. Talk to someone. That's all part of that. Passwords. Obviously, we live in a world where, anybody else have this, where one website wants a password with a hashtag sign or a dollar sign, and the other ones don't want any, but they want 27 characters in the thing. That's the world we're living in, unfortunately. There are ways to keep track of those, but you want to make your password strong. Okay? Don't use your name or your dog's name. Okay? Make it creative for you. All right? Public Wi-Fi caution. If you're at Starbucks or McDonald's or some other place that they're smart. They offer their customers free Wi-Fi. But the problem is so my universal name for fraudster is Peanut Wiggins. Don't ask me how I came up with that name. It's just, so if you hear me talking about Peanut, I'm talking about a fraudster. So Peanut is sitting nearby as well, and he's watching the Wi-Fi traffic, okay? So the only place I would really do banking transactions is when you're home or you're on your phone on your own network that's protected, okay? Document security, that just means don't leave anything out that has username and passwords on it, account information. You don't want that stuff to get away. You want to look at your statement regularly, okay? Unfortunately, thank you. Unfortunately, we have scammers who will get your credit card, debit card, and then they go to town. They quickly ring up the charges because they're trying to do it as fast as they can, okay? And they're hoping that maybe you're well off enough that you're not going to pay attention. Or maybe you're not that well off enough, but you still don't pay attention. Okay, there are certain regulations that are in there. But basically, the quicker you catch it, the quicker we can replenish that. Okay? You don't want time to go by. You don't want 3 months to go by, and then you notice, wait a minute, I didn't buy $500 worth of gift cards from Larry's Liver House, right? Something's up. So look at your statements. Annual credit report, transaction alerts. You can put in a transaction alert with most of the credit unions or banks that are out there. So if anything goes over a certain dollar threshold, say, hey, send me a text so I know, so it goes straight to your phone. Annual credit reports, you can go there because unfortunately in today's world of identity theft, Peanut is going to steal Jerry's identity. And he's going to go get a car loan in Jerry's name because Jerry has really good credit. Peanut has terrible credit. But he knows if he can go pose as Jerry at an auto shop or some dealership, then he can get a loan, get that car, and he's off and away with the money. So check your credit report. You can check it once a year for free. There's also a thing you can do. You can freeze your credit. Okay, there's TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. I think that's on another slide coming up. But they can freeze your credit. So if Peanut tries to act like Jerry, he won't get that. Because there's going to be a freeze on his account. Yep, think before you click. And whether you're on your laptop or on your phone, right, everything starts here. So I'll tell you a couple things while I'm thinking about it. One, everybody's Minnesota nice, right? Everybody's polite and courteous on the phone. I don't know if you grew up like me, but when the phone was ringing, my brothers and I would run for that phone. We were convinced it was for us. Somebody wanted to talk to me. And of course, it wasn't always that way. But my point is, once we're on the phone, and I can't remember, I think Jay brought it up, but just the whole idea that, you know, some people think they have to be polite and do all the things that the other person's telling them to do. You don't, okay? Here's my number one tip that I give to our folks, and I give to you now for free, is if somebody calls you and they're saying, for the Wings Credit Union, or whatever your credit union or financial institution is, so if they call you, your Wings member, and they say, hey, we're from Wings, we notice there's a problem with your account, whatever the deal is, it's okay. I give you permission to say, did you say your name was Bill? I tell you what, Bill, I'm going to call you right back because I'm kind of in the middle of something right now, and I'm going to call you back on the number I know. Thank you. That's it. That cuts them off at the knees because they can't get you gaslit. They can't get you isolated. That means you now have the opportunity to call your financial institution, wings, and say, hey, I just got this call, and you get a chance to tell your story, and then you get to find out what a great job we're doing at protecting your money. Which reminds me of something else. Here, maybe down charity verification that we'll talk about. So think before you click. If you see a link on your phone and somebody sends you something, thank you. You don't have to click that thing. In fact, I would submit to you, unless you know or were expecting something with a link from a friend, trusted relative, wife, lover, whatever, you don't have to click on that. Don't get too curious. Social media awareness, I think it talks about how these beautiful people develop a relationship in person. You don't develop a relationship online and then start giving money away to somebody you've never met face to face. Charity verification. We're all Minnesota nice. We like to help people out, but you want to make sure that your money's going to the right site and the right people. If you've purposed in your heart to give to a ministry, to a charity, to some other organization that you know helps people, then it's perfectly okay for you to go to that site and make sure that that's where your money's going. Already talked about credit freeze. I'm looking for IC3.gov because I already talked about that. Additional account security, so at least with us, if you have an account and maybe you were a victim of it before, or you're just concerned and you want to put extra security on there, you can call us and say, hey, I want to put a security code on my account. So you come up with a phrase, but then whenever you call in, you need to come up with that phrase. And you don't tell that to anybody else. Okay? And there's a correction to something I heard earlier. If you are calling your trusted financial institution, okay, you're calling Lynch, you're calling Royal, you're calling Affinity, whoever it is, they're going to ask you for a one-time PIN. They're going to send it to you. And in that case, you give them the code because you called the credit union. The credit union didn't call you. I hope that makes sense. Yep. Contact financial institution. I hope you have your credit union's number in your phone saved, because that's the way it goes. Okay? These are some other apps that people are using. I've received a fraudster message on each one of these, on every single one of these apps, and my text message on my phone. Hi, is this Brad? And then there's a picture of a woman who's about 20 and wouldn't be interested in me because I'm old and ugly now. Okay? But my point is that be investigative, be curious. There's no reason somebody's going to call you on any of these and on your phone and you don't know them. Okay? Relationships are holding hands and sharing kisses. Okay? What else we got? Okay. So we'll handle this in a second. One of the big things we're seeing right now is we have members walking into the credit union and saying, I need $10,000 in cash. I need $20,000 in cash. I need $30,000 in cash. There's no reason for you to be carrying around $10,000 in cash. Somebody is coaching that person, a scammer. Peanut told that person that there's been a breach and that their money's not safe and they need to put it in Bitcoin. No. Your money is safe. Okay, credit unions, banks, financial institutions spend a lot of money on people and systems to protect your money. If, in the unlikely event that Peanut was able to break into the bank system and suck money out, we're obligated to refill that money. But if you go into the bank with a credit union and you take out $10,000 in cash, and we say, well, why do you need $10,000 in cash? And you say, well, that's none of your business. We're not trying to get up in your business. We're trying to protect your money and protect you from making a foolish transaction. That's why we ask the questions. Okay? Nothing more to that. If scammed, if this does happen, and you do end up pouring money into a Bitcoin machine because you were convinced that your money was unsafe, or your grandson was in danger, or you didn't show up for jury duty and the judge is mad at you and now you have to pay money so you can show up in the courthouse in person. All scams. Stop contact. Stop talking with the scammer. Okay? You want to call the police. And this has been said before. A lot of people end up feeling dumb. You know, like, I can't believe this happened to me, and I can't say this, because then either they're going to put me in a home, or they're going to give me a hard time about it, or, you know, you fill in the blank. Peanut is a bad guy. You're not the bad guy, you're a victim. And that's okay to say that. But there's a difference between being a victim and being victimized. You're a victim once, now you move on, and you make good decisions. You want to secure your accounts, change your passwords, call your credit union, okay? Gather evidence. I tell my people, if you've been in touch with, for example, a Bitcoin artist, somebody clicked on a link, we might ask you for a screenshot of that message that you got that shows the link, or if they showed you some fake picture of, you know, the gazillions of dollars that you're making now because you invested in Bitcoin through their special thing, thank you. So warn others, re-victimization. You want to make good decisions, keep going. Stay vigilant, strong passwords, recognize common scams, we've talked about that, okay? Thank you. I'm going to hand this over to Tyler, but I appreciate your time, I appreciate your interest, and I hope you appreciate our passion for this to help you protect your money. Thank you.
There we go. Thanks again to our wonderful speakers. That was some fantastic information they shared with us all. Thanks as well to our sponsors again. And then I just want to take a moment to do one more shout out to our local credit union community. First of all, the Minnesota Credit Union Network. Their support, financial and otherwise, for events like this helps make them possible. That's truly appreciated. At Novation Financial, one of our team members, Derek Schmidt, he's up there in the control room right now, if you want to give a wave, Derek. He has done a tremendous amount of work to take this from an idea to an actual event that was happening today. That's on top of his daily work, helping out our members who need help, combating fraudulent activity and things like that. So, extra shout out to him. And then credit unions in general. I've been in the credit union space for a little under 2 years, and it truly is a very different and amazing space to be in and to work in. When this idea first came up, it was something we could do to expand the scale of our efforts to educate the community and our membership about fraud. 7 other credit unions signed up just like that. Let's do this. I think they're very dedicated across the board to their membership and the communities at large to do events like this. So shout out to all of them as well. And then finally, outside at the tables, feel free, stop by, ask questions, use the trucks if you haven't yet. And then as well, thank those that are out there. That's another part of that. Shout out to the credit union community. Is not only all the planning and everything that went into today, but we've got, from the 8 credit unions involved, we have over 30 volunteers that are here today to make this happen. If you saw how hard it was raining around 7:30 and 8 a.m., there were someone setting up tents out there at that time, so great dedication from all of them. And finally, my last remark will be just thank you, great appreciation to all of you that showed up for this. I think we've seen financial fraud is a topic that is worthy of our attention, and it requires all of us to really buy in to paying attention, not only to protect ourselves, but to protect those that are close to us. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.